From the Superjesus is with us today on Freewheelin on Triple J. From one great song by PJ Harvey, let's go into this classic by the Pixies. Do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, this is a classic song. I love this song. Monkey Gone to Heaven. Frank Black has the coolest scream in rock music, I reckon. And the part in the later part of the song where he's going, "If the devil is six, if the devil is six," that part, and he's thinking about what to do next, and he's like, "Oh yeah, and God is seven." When he rips into that part is unreal. I reckon it's my favourite bit. That's why I like this song, just for that screamy God is seven bit. So yeah, put your fingers in your ears. Here it comes.
On from the Pixies, another selection by Sarah McLeod from the Superjesus, The Church There, and a classic Unguarded Moment. I really don't get too tired of hearing that track. I must have heard it hundreds of times.
Yeah, same. I never get tired of hearing it. I love it.
What is it? Does it take you back to a special time?
It's kind of got that 80s-y feel, hey, like the guitar is really 80s and the sound of it and everything, but it's just the melody is so classic, you know, the feeling of it, the lyrics are so moving, I reckon. I really like it. It's one of my all-time favourite songs. And how deep's his voice? Cameras for eyes.
I don't know about the lyrics being moving. I've never thought of Steve Kilby's lyrics being anything but just nonsensical.
I think that the whole unguarded moment thing, like, I always relate to that. You know, like, sort of walk around in life like always, well, you know, making sure you put a bit of a front and trying to think about things before you say them, and, you know, and for someone to actually think, oh, there was one point where I didn't do that, you know, because I think I just walk around and don't ever think about stuff like that, and most people actually do, and I sort of relate to that.
We're going to hear Silverchair. Do you mind if we... I wasn't intending on sort of talking about this, but given that you've picked Silverchair, I was reading in a magazine the other day that you and Chris are together.
Yeah, I've been with Chris for years.
I had no idea.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Are you comfortable talking about this sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's fine. Everyone knows now. At the beginning, we used to try and hide it, but everyone knows now, so it's just whatever. No one seems to care. So
it must be really hard to kind of have a personal relationship with someone else. And when do you ever see him?
Well, I see him all the time. I mean, they very rarely tour. I mean, I think if I'd started going out with him in the early days when they were touring a lot, it would have been hard. But really, they did that one Australian tour, just gone, and they're off overseas now for a couple of months. But since I've been with him for the past 3 years, he's never really gone anywhere.
Well, I guess with Daniel being sick, of course, you know, they sort of had their plans sort of put on hold for a long time there.
Yeah, so he's just been with me. He comes on the road with me.
Right, okay. Do you talk a lot about music? That's the other thing which has always puzzled me about people who have been in separate bands and had relationships, whether it's just one endless conversation about music.
Yeah, well, only when we're drunk. But usually we don't much unless it's like... you know, he's sort of getting into producing, so he might bring home some demos and go, "What do you think of this? I'm thinking of producing this band," and we'll talk about music then. But usually, you know, after a few drinks, if we sort of start chit-chatting, you know, and then we get really full on, then I start playing him songs, and I can't believe you don't know this one, because he's so much younger than me, so I'm always doing the whole, I can't believe you've never heard of this song, you know. And he's like, all right, give it a rest.
He must hate that.
Oh, he hates it, yeah, because I seem to harp on it a lot. Same with movies. I can't believe you've never seen this. It's a classic.
And get used to it, because what's the age difference? Must 7 years?
It's
whatever. Yeah, sorry, that was a very impolite question. I didn't mean that.
I don't know, how old are you, mate?
But yeah, I know, exactly. Another century. But Chris also has just produced the Mess Hall.
Yeah.
That EP.
Yeah, and that's really good too.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I really like Mess Hall.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get them on our tour, but I don't know. Keep hassling our manager. We should get Mess Hall, man. They're great. Yeah, really cool band.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So let's hear this track by Silverchair.
Yeah, this is my favourite Silverchair song of all time. This is at their best, I reckon. I'm Sarah McLeod from the Superjesus here on Triple J on the Freewheelin. Next, I'm going to choose another song. This has always been a favourite of mine since I was young. Andy Preboy with Jonette Napolitano, who is from Concrete Blonde. She's got one of the greatest voices, I reckon, next to PJ Harvey, of course. But yeah, Tomorrow Wendy, when I was young, we used to play this song at a cover band in Adelaide, and it was always like the highlight of the night for me. I used to love it. So yeah, here it is. I think you'll dig it.
I thought that would have been a really tough, because it's a really moving song.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It was our song. You know how every cover band has their one song that they do really well and everyone knows them for that one song. That was always ours, Tomorrow Wendy. I used to go and do it by myself, and it was always this big, yay, Tomorrow Wendy.
Did you do it on guitar or on piano?
No, on guitar.
On guitar?
Yeah, and people would always like scream for it, you know.
It's one of those songs which means a lot to people. I mean, it's been kicking around now for years and years and years, well over a decade, but still people request it, ring us up, wanting us to play it.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's really moving, really, really deep. and just the way they perform it is fantastic. And she is amazing.
I've always loved, like, as you were saying before, I've always loved her voice too. And I remember seeing Concrete Blonde in their early days when they first started touring out here, and just such a great performer she was.
Yeah, totally. And she nails those high notes.
Yeah, great on stage to watch, great presence, but also a great voice.
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow, Wendy there, Andy Preboy teaming up with Jeanette Napolitano. You're going to select Sarah right now? You're going to select a Beatles track?
Oh, yeah. Difficult to select a Beatles track, you know, because obviously there's so many great Beatles songs. But I chose The Things We Said Today because I really like what they did in their early days. And I think this is from a Hard Day's Night record. And it was like a pop song, but it was all in minor. And it's just a really cool, dark, but really sort of sweet pop song. And I just thought the contrast was really cool. So I like this one.
The long track, but we really want to play it. It's the Swerve Driver.
We really want to play it,
We
don't we,
really
Richard?
want to play it. Because Swerve Driver are a fantastic band, and lots of people who are in bands really like this group, but we very rarely play them on the radio, so...
Yeah, we are really influenced by Swerve Driver. Got to pay homage to your roots.
You have been, really?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I love Swerve Driver.
For what reasons do you think that you've been influenced?
Oh, they're just great guitar music. You know, the way the guitars are written to intertwine around each other. Like, you know how a lot of guitar bands, both guitars play the same thing and then every now and then they split off and do something different. Whereas Swerve Driver always had this thing where all the parts were written to move within each other, and then when they split off and then they go and play the same thing for a brief moment, the impact is really full on. Then they split back off again and do their own thing, but it's all just written in this really cool way that they're really close parts and make this really great wall of sound. So if you're a guitar player and like guitar music generally, probably like Swerve Driver.
Yeah, so this song is a good example of all of that?
Yeah, and this is just great. Like Last Train to Saintsville, the whole thing, like the groove of it just sounds like you're on a train. You know, the way he's playing the drums, it's like clickety clackety clickety clackety click, you know? It's just, and the lyrics, this is probably, as far as lyrics go, this would be probably the best lyrics I've ever seen. This is great lyrics, this song.
Okay, with that build-up, strap yourselves in.
Last Train to Saintsville, can't go wrong.
Okay, here it is right now on Triple J.
Jesus, and I'm in here with Richard Kingsmill, and I'm picking all the tunes this afternoon here on Triple J, because this is called Freewheelin.
What was the first record you ever bought?
Ooh, well, I can't remember which one, but it would have been, I just remember the first few I had, and the first three, I think, I can't believe I'm saying this, especially on Triple J, but one of them was Last Christmas by Wham, and the other one was I'm Going to Tear Your Playhouse Down by Paul Young.
Oh, yes.
They were the first. I can't remember. I think the other one was another Wham one. But, yeah, they were my first 7-inch singles.
To make you feel better about the Paul Young track, I think I remember Triple J actually playing that song at the time.
Yeah, right. And had that sticker on the back that said, "This record must be played loud." I was like, sorry, Mum. You know, it's telling me what to do.
Paul Young, so rock and roll.
Oh, yeah. And he had that cool hair and those tights.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I still think he was sexy.
I asked you that question because I thought it might have been a Cheap Trick single.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, leading into the Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
No, that was later. I got into Cheap Trick probably after Cheap Trick were at their height, you know what I mean? I don't think I think it was probably about 9 years ago that I discovered this song. And I was like, oh, man, what the greatest pop song ever written to me, you know, like as far as rock pop songs go that move you. That part of the end where they're like, we're all right, you know. I remember seeing them live and he was going, you know, Buddy's all right and what's his name's all right. I can't remember the names, and he was like, you know, pointing to each one, and then his fist in the end is going, we're all right. And I was standing in the crowd with my fist in there going, yeah, we're all right. You have to tell him, I'm with you. It was cool.
The affirmation of rock and roll. It's a powerful experience when it happens, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.